Hey everybody, I'm Sierra.
And I'm Ben.
And welcome back to another episode of The Unsolved Couple, where every week Ben and I recap one of your original gateway drugs into true crime.
Unsolved mysteries.
Okay, I'm in a mood.
The mood has been set.
I've been in
Sierra has been working on this for an hour.
In our studio, and here's the best part. I've changed nothing.
I know. We were having technical difficulties.
Yeah.
And Sierra was trying to figure it out, and she did.
Yeah.
Finally.
Everything.
But ask her what she did, and she couldn't tell you.
No. I finally just gave up and uninstalled all of the software.
She almost just quit. She almost said.
Between that and the snark review I got, this about ended the podcast.
Ended it. And I was so upset. I was like, no.
The only reason we're here is because Ben was like,
we must watch Unsolved Mysteries. We've made it so far. I have to know how it ends.
There is one other that at least I can find. There could be more out there. I don't know. The world of podcasting is vast, but there is one more podcast, like down in 2020-ish, that started recapping episode by episode, case by case, of Unsolved Mysteries. And they seem to do pretty well, but they stopped after season 4. Maybe it's the curse of season 4.
Do you think it's cursed?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know, but we're here. I've got a full belly of delicious Sunday dinners, and I'm excited for today's episode because we have 2 really fun things we're talking about. We have a ghost story, and we have an alien, and we have an update.
Big update.
Big update.
Huge.
So let's get ready. Let's just jump right in. Unless there's anything else you want to share with our podcast friends.
Friends.
I'm going to be at CrimeCon coming soon. That's like in a month by the time this comes out.
Are you excited?
I'm getting nervous.
Why?
I've never been to CrimeCon before, and I'm going there to try to network and learn and grow and also participate in all my nerdy things that I love. And I've never been to Vegas before. I don't understand Vegas. And I'm going by myself.
You sure are. Mm-hmm. Well, not really. You're meeting up with some friends.
I'm meeting up with a bunch of podcast friends, yeah.
Yeah. So. I'm so sad I'm missing
it. I don't think you are.
I'm not. I really am not.
Yeah. So I have actually had a couple of people on our Instagram reach out to me that say that they're going to be there as well.
Are they going to come find you?
Yeah. And I have special presents for people that come find me. I'm like Santa Claus in a trench coat.
Are you going to wear a trench coat?
Yeah, it's May. It's the end of May in Vegas. But conventions are always freezing cold. So yeah, I mean, I have.
But I think you can wear anything in Vegas.
I think I have like 5 trench coats. I'm probably going to pack at least 3. I'm driving, which is cool. So I can bring.
You can take as much stuff as you want.
Yep.
So happy for you.
And the 90s kickoff party. I don't want, maybe I shouldn't spoil it.
Don't spoil
Me and all the podcast girls are going as a certain thing. And not until I get their permission will I tell you.
You cannot. That would be.
I'm very excited.
Breaking a cardinal rule.
Yeah. Okay. Anything you needed to share? I don't want to sound like I'm self-absorbed.
I have so much to share. I wish I could. There's just not enough time in the day. So I'm not going to share it.
Okay.
I actually have nothing to share, but okay, let's move on.
Okay.
What do we got? Season
4.
Quattro.
Episode 18. Okay, before we jump into today's cases, just a friendly reminder, like, follow, subscribe, share, all of the things. Leave us a 5-star rating and review. I will love you forever and a day. All your wishes will come true, and you will all be gifted a unicorn if you do so.
A unicorn?
A unicorn, yeah. Okay. Yep. Instagram, social media, blah, 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 blah. Okay, now that that's out of the way, let's dive in because we do have some crazy things to talk about. April 19th, 1990, the half-nude body of a woman is discovered behind a truck stop on the Interstate 70 in Licking County. I hate the name of that.
Are you sure that's right? Licking?
Licking.
That is licking.
That I understand that I mess up a lot of words, but that is what is.
That's the spelling.
That is the spelling of Licking County, and that's in Ohio. I don't know why, but it just makes me think of a giant cow tongue. Have you ever been licked by a cow before?
No.
It's not pleasant.
I've been licked by a horse.
That is pleasant. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm dragging my feet because this is a terrible story.
It is an awful story. Sorry, I got hung up on the licking. Anyways, moving on.
She had been beaten to death, and all of her jewelry and several pieces of her clothing were missing. Despite a full investigation by local authorities, the victim is never identified. Fast forward to 4 years, or I guess rewind 4 years earlier, a body of a 23-year-old named Shirley Taylor had been found behind a traffic barrier 100 miles to the north. A known sex worker, Shirley had also been beaten to death. In addition, all of her jewelry and several pieces of her clothing had been removed from her body. The two seemingly isolated crimes were committed 4 years and 100 miles apart. Murder cases often are solved when a pattern emerges, which is kind of the double-edged sword, right? Is a lot of the times in order to find a pattern, multiple crimes have to be committed. But amazingly, the person who actually made the connection wasn't intending to look for it. It was a reporter was starting to research for a newspaper article about serial killers for the Columbia Dispatch. This man was just trying to get some research together, and he's actually the one that kind of started asking more questions. Is there a possibility that some of these might be connected? So he begins to cross-reference unsolved murder cases in Ohio, and to his surprise, a very obvious pattern begins to emerge. 8 women in 8 different counties had been beaten or strangled to death. Each is found along a major interstate that was known or suspected that sex workers were using this interstate through truck stops in order to work. So with this in mind, he starts looking into kind of the subculture. And this is even on Unsolved Mysteries. We kind of get a little bit of background on what was happening at truck stops at that time. A lot of the prostitutes or sex workers worked off of a CB radio, so it's all done very anonymously. The woman would get on the radio and give her handle with some little catchphrase that she developed as her trademark, and a trucker would answer back saying, "Yeah, this is Blue Pitbull in row 3, come meet me," and she would head off to the truck. Usually once she gets in the truck, she'll use the trucker's CB radio to actually find her next customer. I mean, if I put my business hat on, it's
Nope.
So I cannot stress this enough. These women, regardless of what they were doing to make money, do not deserve what happens to them. One person talked about that, and we do know this to be true, that especially at this time, the Green River Killer and all that, a lot of the times people targeted sex workers because they were kind of unseen in a way. They were easy prey because they might have drug addiction issues. They might have abandoned their family. They might not have people looking for them.
Yeah, I thought the reporter had said something. He's like, listen, it's clear.
Mm-hmm.
I think he spoke a truth in the fact of he said, yeah, I just don't think a lot of times these cases get the due diligence. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but he was saying the due diligence they deserve. And the reason for that they don't is because of the work that they're in.
Yeah.
And then you get the attorney general and he's like, no, absolutely not. Everyone. And I'm like, I was like, it's
Let's call
pretty
a
much,
spade a
yeah,
spade.
it was
Yeah.
like throughout history,
Mm-hmm.
these victims
Mm-hmm.
don't always get a great investigation. They don't always get the due diligence. And I thought the reporter was like, he was stating it. He was saying,
He
listen,
did say, he came out very clear and was like, this, if a suburban house mom went missing or was found
Yeah.
bludgeoned to death down the road, you would have heard about it. It would have got, and if multiple housewives went missing and found this way, it would be a big deal.
And I thought I liked what he was saying this because it is a fact.
Mm-hmm.
And then what he did was he literally put it on the front page to the point where then the state couldn't ignore it. And they didn't, at least for
but
a
here's
time.
the thing, they had. He's
Absolutely.
he's not a detective. He's not in law enforcement. He was just simply writing an article and stumbled upon something, which is one of the reasons why the press is important in the world that we live in, because sometimes they see things.
Especially back then, because they said a lot of these bodies were dumped in different jurisdictions.
Mm-hmm.
So no one knew that there might have been a pattern.
I will say, and we might, I think it's in my notes here somewhere, the news article kind of calls out that too, that you are doing a disservice by not working across jurisdiction lines.
And also the Attorney General admits that.
Mm-hmm.
He says there wasn't communication. And so people weren't knowing. And so you would have these two jurisdictions that would have very similar murders, but had no idea that they might be connected.
Yeah. Yeah. I think anytime we talk about this, I want people to understand, and we're no experts, but the conversation around victimology is different than victim blaming. And sometimes that line can feel a little blurred. These women, unfortunately, were working a high-risk job and putting themselves in, I would say, vulnerable situations for the wrong person to take advantage of them. That is not blaming the victim. That is simply trying to understand. When you're trying to figure out how this person ended up dead, you also have to understand what they were doing and the people that they were interacting with. That's all I wanted to kind of point out. So February 8th, 1987, 27-year-old Anna Patterson becomes the sixth known victim in Ohio. In reviewing the investigation of her murder, the law enforcement uncovers several possible clues to the killer identity. Anne-Marie had been working at a truck stop in Austintown, just south of Cleveland. Witnesses said her last call was from a driver of a black or dark blue Peterbilt truck. The man used the CB handle, quote, Dr. Number. I don't understand the reference of that handle, but...
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. 25 days later, her body would be found alongside Interstate 71 north of Cincinnati. Her head had been bashed in. She had been brutally beaten, and an autopsy revealed that she had actually been killed within 48 hours of her disappearance. But even more disturbingly, the condition of the body indicated that the killer had kept her refrigerated for nearly a month.
What? If it's a truck driver? Mm-hmm. He's probably driving a refrigerated truck. And he rode around with that body.
Yep.
I guess.
Disturbed. I mean, you want to like the cliche of every quote unquote creepy serial killer. Like, this man is hitting all of the like check marks. It appears that the killing spree began 9 years earlier with the murder of a woman who has sadly never been identified. Since then, the bodies of 7 other victims have been found along the interstate in different counties. Each woman had been viciously beaten or strangled, and each had jewelry and clothing removed from the body. A newspaper in Ohio ran the shocking story with compelling evidence that explained how the murders of the 8 women were likely the work of one single killer. 10 days later, the Ohio Attorney General for the Buckeye State Sheriff's Association formed a special task force. So yeah, this man doing the work, writing an article, and he's interviewed on Unsolved Mysteries, then gets the attention of the Attorney General, who forms this task force so that communication can happen among several jurisdictions. Another alarming clue suggests a possibility about the killer's identity. The killer scattered the bodies, and the big question is why? Had there been some sort of there had been speculation that the killer could have been a security guard or even a police officer that knew about police investigations enough to do that. I think that's giving a little bit more credit than credit is due. I think he's trying to draw the conclusion that by spacing the bodies out across several counties, automatically, if you knew that the likelihood of intercommunication happening, how am I trying to phrase this? Not your layperson would understand that if I dump a body in county A and dump a body in county B, that police A and police B are not communicating with each other. And I think that's giving more credit to than this guy. I think he just drove a truck and it was easy.
Well, yeah, how many counties are in Ohio?
How many?
88. Which means they're small.
They're small. Yeah, because Ohio's not humongous.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big state.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. It's not Texas.
Yeah, so
so what I'm saying is you wouldn't have to drive very far to then be in another jurisdiction. Mm-hmm. So it's possible I think you're right. I think they're giving a lot more. And here's the thing, that's fine. Like, at least they're leaving every avenue open.
Well, yeah, because then you could say, is there any truck drivers that would pass police officers?
But if you're a truck driver and you're driving through Ohio in a day's drive, I think you can probably drive through
multiple counties.
You could drive through Ohio in a day and you're going to pass through a lot of counties. So to dump a body here and then there, you're almost guaranteed to be in a different county.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so at the very end of the segment, it lets us know that 2 victims were last seen getting into a black or dark blue Peterbilt tractor, possibly pulling a refrigerator truck due to the body that had been refrigerated, which is a sentence I hate saying. And the driver may be using the CB handle Dr. No, Stargazer, or Dragon.
What would be your CB handle?
Sparkle Cat. That is kind of where Unsolved Mysteries leaves us.
All right, update.
Okay, here you go. The Jane Doe discovered in 1990 has thankfully been identified as Patrice Corley. She vanished December 4th, 1989 from Louisiana, Kentucky, and sadly left behind her young son. What's even sadder is that her sister-in-law attempted to report her missing at the time, but was told by local authorities that she was not allowed to do so because she wasn't a blood relative.
Yeah, no.
Which there's no way that can be. I mean, I believe that she was told that, but there's no way that that's actually how police works.
No, because if you couldn't report someone missing unless you were a blood relative, then like coworkers, and that's still a family member.
Yeah.
Or neighbors.
Yeah. I know. And what's even sadder is that not again until October of 2016, she tried again and was allowed to file a report. And thankfully, because she was allowed to file that report, they were able to match the Jane Doe remains to her, because they show a picture of it on Unsolved Mysteries. She has like an unnamed gravestone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they were able to use DNA and to match everything together. So in August of 2021, the headstone was replaced with her name on it.
And what was her name?
Patrice Corley.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and as a result of her identification, then the murder investigation is basically reopened. Now they've got more information to go off of. So fast forward, February of 2019, a 49-year-old truck driver named Samuel Legg was arrested and charged for the murder of a woman named Sharon Lynn Kurdensky, who was found dead at a truck stop and had been listed also as a Jane Doe for 2 decades. The DNA evidence linked Legg to the murder along with 2 others in Ohio and 1 in Illinois. So that's 4. All the victims were found near truck stops, and the police allege that he is the killer in the other, quote, Ohio prostitute murder cases. However,
all right. ...
A judge ruled that Legg was currently not competent to stand trial when he was arrested back in 2019 and will undergo continuous evaluation until he is ruled competent to face trial of murder.
Oh,
Dot.
that's right. I did
As
see
of
that.
May of 2025, Legg's fourth competency hearing took place. He had been previously found incompetent after 2019, 2021, and 2023, and now again in 2025, leading to his repeat return to Twin Valley Behavioral Health Center in Columbus.
Why is he not competent to stand trial?
Can I tell you how hard I looked for that information?
Yeah, I guess it's probably not something they're putting out there.
They should, because someone actually uploaded his 2019 court appearance where he walks in. This man walks in completely calm, sits down next to his attorney. When the judge speaks to him, he responds to him. When the judge speaks to his attorney, he turns to. This is even the best part. When the judge actually at one point speaks to Legg, instead of answering him, does what you are supposed to do. He turns to his attorney to find out, should I answer that or not? That, to me, seems like you are competent in some capacity.
Clearly, there's more.
Yeah, I've got a lot of questions,
wild.
and I feel like Ohio's really dropped the ball on this because...
I'll say this, though. I am now very interested in the fact of, because ruling someone incompetent to stand trial in 2026, 2025 is pretty rare.
Yeah.
Back in the 50s and 60s.
I think for a short period of time, maybe 9 months to a year, was not competent to stand trial because she thought she was on a personal relationship level with Jesus Christ. But insanity doesn't mean that you can't stand trial. Even people with schizophrenia, like the legal definition of that means that you can't understand the court proceedings. But that's even hard for me because the layperson has a hard time understanding court proceedings. So I don't know. I don't know what the bar is in Ohio. I don't know if there's a lot of people fighting for this man to actually move from. There was a news article about it posted just before the hearing in 2025. It was posted on social media just through that newspaper that did it. And there is, 20, 30 comments of people like, hey, can we get some more information? Kind of the same thing you have, what's happening? What is Ohio doing to get this person competent to stand trial?
He's possibly responsible for
multiple murders.
Minimum 4 murders.
But again, then it goes back. Are we treating this person some kind of way because the women's lives that he took as a society for a long time have been looked at as less valuable and less important?
It's wild.
It is. And it's slightly enraging a little bit because the county does not seem, or the state does not seem to be issuing any sort of hey, we're working on this.
But he's in a hospital.
He's in a mental health hospital, yeah. But he's not in prison and he hasn't been convicted of anything. And so I wrote down a quote from the judge. He stated that Legg, quote, remains unable to understand the nature and objective of the legal proceedings assigned to him or to assist in his own defense and remains a mentally ill person, end quote. That's it. That's all the judge gave us.
All right.
Isn't that why you have an attorney? I mean, you do have a right to defend yourself. Technically, that is a right.
Yeah, but I guess I'm just confused because a lot of the times it's, do you understand the charges?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is one of the main questions.
And the charges, it's not like a complicated theft.
It's
or
murder.
Embezzlement or something. Yeah. It's murder.
Yeah.
The charge is that you killed this person.
And I will say, not being competent to stand trial does not mean that you are pleading. He hasn't even entered a plea yet, but it doesn't mean automatically that you can plead not guilty by reason of insanity.
Yeah, that's
they're two different things.
The court is saying you don't understand what's going on here.
Mhm.
And until you can understand, like, then we can't really put you through the process.
And I'm telling you, if you watched the video that I watched, it's only like 9 minutes long of him walking into a courthouse and sitting in the spot he's supposed to sit in and communicating with his attorney. If I didn't understand what was happening and I'm being marched into a courtroom with a bunch of, like, I feel like there would be a reaction there of like, I don't understand what's going on. I don't know where I'm at. I don't know what's happening. You would see it. But when you sit down in the spot, you're supposed to sit down and you interact with your attorney. Like, that seems like you've got an idea of this is the person who I'm supposed to talk to. And you make eye contact with the judge because that's the person having the authority in the courtroom. That seemed pretty competent to me to understand a legal proceeding.
Yeah. I mean, I'm curious if from 2019 to 2025, is this the same judge? Because if it's multiple different
it likely
judges.
is. Most of the time, once something's assigned to a judge, then it sticks with them. But I will say, I didn't go over all of the court
Because I was
records.
curious, if it's a different judge, if the judge has changed and they're ruling the same thing, then clearly there's something we don't know.
Yeah.
You know, and it's unfortunate because we probably don't know because it's probably not getting a lot of headlines and no one's digging deep into this to report it to the public.
Well, Sierra Turner is on the case now.
Sierra's on the case.
Yeah. So I did comment on their Facebook, and I
emailed it.
I emailed it,
district
attorney and asking what is being done to get these women justice. I will let you know if I've sent a lot of emails and made a lot of phone calls, and not once has any of these men ever had the guts to call me back.
Well, this wasn't a case, but the gentleman that was looking for his mom.
There was a lost love, the one that we did about the man who lived in California. His mom was from England, had gotten married in Canada.
His dad was a World
War II vet, and dad filed for divorce and gave the youngest son up for adoption and took his oldest son and moved to Los Angeles. He did message me back and said that I had found him, and sadly, I mean, he's like in his late 80s. Yeah, or mid 80s.
He was like 80, 81.
He has never been able to find a single trace of his mother.
That's too bad.
Yeah. So, okay. Side note, just for another thing. Sadly and crazy enough, a man named Sean Globe is also known as the Interstate Killer. He is an American serial killer and former truck driver who kidnapped and murdered at least 4 women in the southern areas of the United States between 94 and 95. He has been arrested and convicted. Authorities in 10 other states have investigated him for numerous unsolved killings of women. While some he has cleared of those cases, as of today, his true victim count remains unclear. So it seems like, at least for a time, there was multiple men out there doing this to women.
Well, when the reporter's talking,
Mm-hmm.
there was a long list of murders, and he only tied 8 to the same type,
Mm-hmm.
which means there was a lot more, which means this is terrible, and it's happening way too much, way too often.
Yep.
And if you're tying 8 to a possible one person, and that's only because they were strangled or beaten,
Mm-hmm.
then that just means that there's another long list of multiple others that.
Yep.
So.
And this other man, Sean, the Interstate Killer, he killed at least, that we know of, 4 women in a year span, 94 to 95. So I'm just saying, they talk about kind of this phenomenon. I don't want to say phenomenon, this terrible thing that's happening in this area. There is one man that has been convicted, and it's possible he could have had a hand in some of these women listed names. The other man has been arrested and has yet to stand trial due to competency. So we might get a break in that in the next year or two. If he's found able to stand trial, we could get an update on some of these cases. So, okay, sorry. That seemed kind of confusing, but.
I thought it was good. I just had a lot of questions.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
sorry, I was muted.
Oh, you were?
It was good. I had a lot of questions.
All right. Well, I hope I hope these women find the peace that they deserve.
Well, I hope this person is brought to justice.
Yeah, me too. I've got a lot of questions, Ohio.
All right, I do. We have a new update. Sarah actually found it. She sent it to me. This goes back to season 1, episode 11.
Yeah, so you can go back and listen to it, or Bangan's going to give you a little.
I'll give you a brief
Clip
synopsis
notes.
of it.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of watched this episode. It's the sad one of that girl that got hit in the head on her boyfriend's motorcycle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't have an update about that. Ben just wanted to bring it down a notch for everybody.
I did. I was just trying to I was trying to make everyone feel sad again after we just talked about many women murders. And
brutally murdered.
This one is not a sad story, okay? This is a robbery.
Did you go back and listen to our episode
No,
about what we talked about at the end of it to see what our theories were?
Nah.
No, I haven't gotten to either. So after we do this, I'm going to go back and listen to it because I'll be interested to see what our theories were.
Yeah, I probably should have done that. But I don't remember what I said about it. Okay, so this is the story of Jack Quinn. He was 48 at the time. And this was in 1988, April 9th. He's the vice president of Federal Protection Services. So armored truck service, and they did money.
Yes,
they did.
We talked about Mastermind a little bit.
Yeah. Yes, we thought this might be based on the Mastermind.
First, we thought it might be. Yeah.
Yes, again, great movie. Go watch it. It is so funny. It is so funny. Great movie. But that's not what we're talking about. He oversaw firm security operations. So 8 a.m. Saturday, like I told you, April 9th, 1988, he shows up to work. Harry Goldberg, he's also working. They're just working along. And Jack says, hey, man, I got work to do. I'm going to get stuff done. Harry's like, all right. He said that, like, Jack was in the vault back and forth many of times. But Harry said he got up multiple times to get coffee, all that throughout the day. Saw Jack working. He said he just seemed calm, collective, cool, and just to be working along. But do you think that Jack was just trucking along doing his normal day-to-day? He wasn't.
What was he doing?
He was transferring money from bags to boxes, and then he was taking that money and he was putting it in the trunk of his company vehicle. Okay? Yes. $1.3 million.
Did you do adjusted for inflation?
No, I don't do that. That's your job. But 1988, that's almost 3 times. So we're looking at almost $4 million in 2026 dollars. Okay?
That's a lot of money.
Yeah. But he also put $107,000 in a bag in the trunk of his personal vehicle. Then Jack drives his personal vehicle home. Harry follows him with the company car. I do remember this. It was so confusing. He drops the personal vehicle off. Then they drive back to the company. And Jack drops Harry off at the office. Then he takes the personal vehicle to the company vehicle.
Yep.
He's dropped his personal vehicle off at his house to his wife. Says to her, hey, love you. I just got to go back to the office and finish some things up. I just thought I'd bring this vehicle home for some reason.
I left you a little love note in the trunk. Give me a couple hours before you check on it.
I don't think he said that. So takes Harry back to the office, takes the personal vehicle to Palm Beach International Airport. It shows a ticket that he entered there at 5:36 p.m. and he gone, never to be seen again. His wife then goes out the next day. She gets worried he doesn't show up. She goes out the next day. Guess what she finds in the trunk of the car?
A present.
$107,000.
What a weird number.
And a letter that says, I have done something very wrong and I can't stay and face the consequences. So we then get told
I just need a cool couple mil to live my life away from this crime I've committed.
So we get told by the FBI that like there's no way of tracing this money because they have money coming in and out of this company so much that they don't know what was what, like
This money was like non-traceable.
untraceable. They've got
This was
no
the
clue.
perfect money to steal.
And then as they start digging into Jack here, they find out he was renting a 10-acre horse ranch. And everyone was like, hey man, how's Jack affording this on his $35,000 a year career as a vice president of federal protection services? Come to find out the IRS wanted a lot of back taxes from him. I guess they were pretty
this man
ticked
also
about it.
was at tax evasion.
I guess he was leaving at 5:30 in the morning, but not showing up to work till like 9 o'clock.
Suspected that he had a lover.
So he might have had an affair going on. So Jack, he gone.
Yeah.
Into the wind.
Yep.
So.
And that's kind of where Unsolved Mystery leaves us. And
so I remember writing this. They give us a description of Jack. He says he's stocky with a tendency to put on weight. And that is, if I think I even might have said this in that episode, like that's a blow to the gut of a guy. Hey, you're stocky.
Easily puts on weight.
Easily puts on weight. So, yeah. And so they give us that. And I remember at that time we did the update. MIA.
Never to be seen again.
Never to be
Not
found.
even like a sniffle of him, right?
They said that they might have tracked him to Houston.
Okay.
But he vanished.
Yeah.
So
all right.
They have no idea where this guy is, and he got away with $1.3 million. So are you ready for now a new update?
Yeah. Give it to us.
Found dead.
Deceased.
He died in December 2025. And March of this year, they identified his body in Asheville, North Carolina. He'd been living there. I'm trying to say his aliases include Dale Calvin Clucky, Dale Clucky, Jack Quentin James Sullivan. He was living there. There isn't much about what he was doing there and his like the life he lived. I'm hoping that comes out later, but the articles I read a couple articles, like a Fox article from North Carolina there. I mean, obviously it's a big deal because he was on the FBI's most wanted list, but curious of how he lived out his life from 1988 to 2025.
Was there another spouse or children or anything? We got nothing?
We don't have anything. So it just says that he had passed away and somehow they thought he'd passed away of natural causes, that they might have been him. They identified his prints from his death to the prints of when he was wanted in 1988.
Whoa.
But that's it. I wish I had more. Like,
yeah,
obviously
I would love to know. What did he do with that money?
From 1988 to 2025.
That's a long time.
It is a long time. And yeah, we would all love to know. I don't have those answers.
Okay.
I just have the answers that he technically was found. And he did go on to live a second lifestyle.
Yeah.
What he did, we don't know.
All right, hopefully we'll find out and then we can bring update 3.0 once we know more or if more comes out. There's got to be a documentary being made about this or something because this is an insane story.
Obviously, like something has got to come out.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Yeah, that's all I got. But we are an update. We are a podcast of updates.
Yeah, we are.
Unsolved mysteries. And this is a mystery.
Okay. Are you ready for me to tell you a ghost story?
Yes.
This is a story that weaves in some of my favoriteest things. Real estate, vintage homes.
And ghost.
When I tell you this house, this castle, is a dream come true. In 1923, a wealthy executive named Bill Betty, Beaty, yeah, Betty and his wife, started building a 17th century style Norman castle on 150 acres of woodland in Basking Ridge, New Jersey. Say less.
Say less.
In 1930, before construction was complete, the family moved into the castle with their 4 children. But Bill would never see the completion of his dream. Just 1 year later, he died of the flu at age 45. That's crazy. His castle wouldn't be finished for another 5 years. Sarah never remarried. She raised all of her children in the castle and lived there until 1941. After that, the castle served as a boys' school for several decades. And during that time, it got a little bit of a reputation. I mean, you're talking, this is a castle on 150 acres in the middle of the New Jersey forest.
Who picked that it need to be called a castle?
Well, it's a Norman style, a Norman castle. So it's the style of construction.
Okay, because we
what,
live
Ben?
in America.
No,
we live in America.
You have never once built me a castle. I would just like to point that out.
You're right. I haven't built you a castle. We live in America. We don't call things castles.
Actually, this is like the second time we've talked about a castle here in America. One is up in Phoenix.
What are you talking about?
The castle from the lady that married the wealthy guy whose family founded Phoenix.
No.
Do you know what I'm even talking? Do you even remember having the conversation with me? Literally, when we drove to Phoenix, I was like, hey, we should see if we could go find the wedding cake castle.
I know. And you know what? I just nodded and went along. I had no idea what you were talking about. I had no idea.
Wow.
No clue. Sometimes it's easier to play along in conversations than to just acknowledge the truth that you don't know what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's pretty much how I spend most of my life. I honestly just don't remember.
Okay.
I told you I try to forget these things when I'm done.
I know, but the castle, is owned by a society now. You love a good society.
I do love a good society.
But you have to make reservations insanely in advance, and they're crazy expensive. So I don't know what they're keeping that.
I don't like those kinds.
I don't
of
like
societies.
those kinds of societies
If
either.
all are not welcome. I don't like those.
No,
societies.
that is so stupid.
Those are just people that.
There's
think
also a castle up on the hill right above our house.
It's not a castle.
It is a castle.
We don't call things castles in America. You call them in England and Ireland, Scotland. Those are castles. Maybe France. I don't know, people. Those are castles because those were built a long time ago.
Well, this man was definitely channeling the Middle Ages because in 1923, or I guess it was in 1930, he died at age 45 from the flu, which is very much feels like a very medieval condition.
They did. They kept calling it castle throughout this episode.
Did you look up pictures of it?
Yes, I did. I was
It's
curious.
stunning.
It looks like a huge house.
It looks like a castle.
It looks like a big house.
I would call it a castle. Okay, so then it changed from a castle to a boys' school where that went on for several decades. And they said that the biggest thing that happened while it was the boys' school is that the sound of what's the pipes? Not the pipe organ would be heard echoing through the halls, even though the school did not have a pipe organ. So, 1972, a couple named Dawn and Carol.
Can you imagine walking through a house and hearing an organ play, knowing there's no organ?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think I would just assume it was the wind. That's what I would tell myself.
Over and over, the wind was changing notes.
Ben, I think that I would love to live in this haunted castle, but you can guarantee, I promise you, the moment something terrifying happens, I'm out.
Quit interrupting, okay?
In 1972, a couple named Dawn and Carol moved into the castle after it had stood empty for a while, and they began to renovate it, aka Sierra's dream for me had been to renovate a castle together. If anyone has a castle laying around that they would like me to renovate, Ben is very handy, and I have beautiful ideas.
Do you know how this all started between these two?
The wife saying, hey, I have an idea.
That's exactly what I was going to say. The wife came home and said, hey, babe, I have an idea. Because that's what I hear
How's
at
your
least once
garage
a week.
currently looking right now, babe?
Don't even get me started. Please stop calling it a castle.
I'm not going to. So they begin to renovate it. And from the start, Carol believed that it's possible it was haunted. So they reached out to a dear friend of theirs, Dr. Matter, an amateur parapsychologist, but has her PhD. So I'm confused how you have an amateur but also a PhD and go by the name doctor.
Well, maybe she has a PhD in something else, but then she enjoys
This is the
studying.
second time we've had a doctor that also is an amateur ghost hunter.
I know it is.
What does that say about you PhD holders? Okay, so that Dr. Matter comes to investigate it, and she tells them that there's definitely a presence in the house, but that it was friendly and it was a male. She suggests, so Carol then asks, like, should we get rid of him by, like, maybe makes a suggestion about a seance. However, this parapsychologist says, like, ultimately the best thing to do is just leave this ghost alone. He seems to be peaceful and happy and content here. No reason to ruffle the feathers of the ghost. So eventually, they began to have evidence of a spirit. They heard hammering noises echoing through the hallways, footsteps going up and down these stairs. And on one occasion, they went to go out for a nice afternoon drive, as rich people often do. Carol liked to get fresh air in the house, so she left all of the windows upstairs open. And they were these beautiful windows that opened from the inside and, like, swung out. They were like French door style with a latch. I mean, just stunning art.
Did you catch where this was in the house?
In the servants' quarters.
The servants' quarters.
Yeah. They were living in the servants' quarters while they were renovating the house. Yeah.
This house literally had a place that you called the servants'
That's
quarters.
That's because it's a castle. So
it's not a
Dawn
castle.
had even said, like, hey, maybe we should close the windows because it looks like it might rain. And she's like, no, it's not going to rain. We'll be fine.
So the husband was right. I'm just saying.
So to everyone's surprise, it started raining. And
not to the husband.
They went home and they were expecting to come home to, like, a wet house. So they ran upstairs and all of the windows had been closed and latched, and there wasn't a drop of rain in the house.
And the laundry was folded.
No, I wish. Can you imagine if you had a ghost that was like OCD and just folded your laundry for you?
That would be me.
If anyone's laundry ever gets mysteriously folded after Ben dies, it's him. She believed that this was the ghost of Bill because he took pride in that house and he had wanted to keep the place dry. He was friendly. He also liked to do some goofing with the TV channels. He'd wait till, like, the arc of a TV show or a movie, and then he'd turn the channel on the couple while they were watching it. He was a silly goose. Silly goose ghost. An SGG, some might say. So at some point, they decide to dive into the castle's history. And they meet a man who is 78 years old named Eugene Melvin, who worked for Bill's wife, Sarah, from 1933 to 1937. And he knew that the house was haunted. And he's interviewed here on Unsolved Mysteries, and he shares an encounter that he had back in 1934. 3 years after Bill's death, he was helping Sarah search for a bracelet that had gone missing during a family gathering. Suddenly, he noticed Sarah, at least per the reenactment, like, reacts and, like, drops a glass or a dish or something. And he looks up and they both see Bill standing up on the balcony. And he said, quote, "It was a figure of a man just standing there. It didn't take long for me to examine it very good. It was just gone like that. It was scary. It frightened the daylights out of me. I just never wanted to go on that balcony again. I passed it by, but to get me in there and stand there, oh, you can forget it. I will not go in there," end quote. He wasn't having it. He saw one ghost and he was done. So Carol decides at that point that she's going to have a conversation with Bill. We've seen this a few times where people just like to tell the ghost kind of, we're going to set some
They
boundaries.
just speak out into the ether.
Yeah, we're going to set some boundaries. So she tells him that he can stay in the castle as long as he wishes, as long as he doesn't let himself be seen by her. She's interviewed and she kind of talks like she doesn't mind the little, TV channel changing or the noises and stuff, but she does not think that she can handle seeing a ghost. I think she says something like then she would like end up in the Looney Tune bin or something like that. Yeah, she tells a story that one afternoon she was enjoying a cigarette at the kitchen table while reading the newspaper and having a cup of coffee, as one does. And the bread that was sitting on the counter flung off the counter by itself. And it didn't just like fall right next to it. It went a considerable distance, so it appeared that someone had picked the bread up and moved it. There was no one in the house with her, no animals. Dawn wasn't around. There's no way the bread that could have just gotten from point A to point B. And that led her to believe that Bill had been there saying, hey, just wanted to let you know I'm hanging out in the kitchen with you.
Just goofing.
I told you.
Goofing by throwing bread on the
He
ground.
was a silly goose.
He was
A silly goose ghost, an SGG.
No.
Yep. And I wrote down a quote to kind of to wrap up the interview that she gave. She says, quote, if you can accept it, then you can enjoy it. And when things happen, you just write it off as, oh, it must be the ghost, or, it's just Bill, if you happen to know who is there with you, end quote. I thought that was awesome. To have a castle and a ghost? Goals.
Goals.
That's
Okay. Your goals?
Yep. So here's your update. There's not really, because at the time, they were still the owners of the house. They only lived there a few more years, and they sold it. And so the latest owners that I can find as of today still own it is a man named Steve and his wife, Avis. Speak fondly of the castle and the work that they've put into it. Have spent 20 years continuing the restoration work of the estate. Because at one point there was a fire at the castle and a lot of it burned down. And in 2018, the now 8.45 acre farm assessed property, now known as 1 Shadowbrook Lane in the hills, was listed for sale at $2.75 million and did not sell. They eventually just canceled the listing. It seems like, so they bought it in 1998 and then, spent 20 years in the house and then tried to sell it. Doesn't appear that it's been listed since, but I can't find any single updated articles if they've done anything with the house since then. They appear to still be the owners of it. So,
do you think
I think we could start a GoFundMe.
Do you think the ghost ups the real estate value?
I think so. If I was the realtor on this, I would lean into that.
Lean into the ghost.
Lean into the ghost, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm kind of bummed that from 150 acres, we're down to 8.45. That, that doesn't help a lot. But
yeah, well, that's because you looked at the taxes.
Oh, yeah, the taxes.
It's
what
like
were they?
$14,000 a year.
Yeah.
Probably we're selling it off just to pay taxes.
Probably. So here's my thoughts. If they tried to sell us in 2018 for 2.75, I actually looked, the assessed value now is closer to like 1.25. We could start a GoFundMe. And if just like only a handful of people each like chipped in a couple of bucks, we could pay cash for the property. And then we could have the podcast at the haunted castle.
I still have to pay for
And we could rent part of it out as an
tax.
Airbnb, and that pays for the taxes.
I don't want to live in New Jersey.
Shh. It doesn't matter where it's at.
It kind of does.
No.
Shh. I'm good.
Babe, I have an idea.
Don't donate.
I have a good idea.
Don't donate.
Okay, so that's it. Do you think the house is haunted?
You know what? I'm to the point. I don't know.
You guys,
sure.
Ben's brain is fried from 4 seasons of Unsolved Mysteries. He doesn't know what to think anymore.
Sure. Do I think bread got tossed from a counter into the middle of a kitchen? No, absolutely not. I don't.
She had no reason to make that story up.
You're probably right.
Where did the sound of the organ pipes come from?
I don't know. The wind.
through this crazy old house.
Yeah.
That's the only part I wish was true.
The organ.
I wish I could walk through a house and hear organ playing throughout the house.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here for it, bro.
Yeah.
Bruh, as my kids would say.
I did read on the Unsolved Mysteries message boards, someone said that there's now a female ghost living there because someone had an affair.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Now we're jumping the shit. Now we're just making stories up.
I'm telling you, I didn't write it down because I thought it was kind of funny, but there's definitely some lore about this, but they haven't leaned into it. I'm like, how can this place not be like an Airbnb or a museum or a registered historical place now? I feel like these people have dropped the ball, and now it's time for me to pick the ball up, and they should just give me the property. Let me be in charge of it.
Just donate it.
Donate it to the unsolved couple. Mm-hmm.
Put it in an LLC.
Well, put it into a trust, and I will be in charge of it. Yep.
What do you think? I already know the answer to
Yeah, of course I think the house is haunted, and I think it's a friendly ghost.
Like Casper?
A silly goose ghost.
Silly goose ghost, an SGG.
Ben's just already in an annoyed mood because he's got to tell us a story about aliens. And I know that you're dragging your feet because we've already been talking for over an hour.
We're at over an hour?
Yes.
We should just call it quits.
We're not going to call it quits. You are going to man up and do your job.
All right, I got to get my notes. All right. Okay, are you ready? Are we done with the ghost?
We're done with the ghost, and I do have a secret confession.
I can't wait.
I didn't watch this part of the episode.
What?
I turned it on, and then I got a phone call for work. And then when I sat down the next time to watch it, I started it from where I'd left off, only now realizing about 25 minutes ago that I have no clue what you're about to tell us.
This is going to be a great one then, because you're going to listen to me like our listeners listen to and haven't watched. And we're actually going to find out if we do this justice or if we've been botching this since the beginning.
If maybe the whole format is to be redone and us just telling each other stories with organic reactions.
Or are we just going to need to scrap this whole thing and be done? What do you think?
No.
All right. Robert Stack first comes and tells us, and I quote, "Sometimes we take tales of UFO sightings for granted." That's what Robert Stack tells us, okay?
I agree,
because
Robert.
He says they didn't even start until after World War II. And now we hear them so much that we take them for granted. A sighting, Robert Stack tells us, can change someone's life. Probably not anymore, but all right. We are heading to Wytheville, Virginia. Little town, only 8,000 people. We get introduced to Danny Gordon. Okay, he works at the radio station. And his morning routine.
This is another radio station personnel.
Yep. What was the first radio station
the
personnel?
Kentucky one? Remember the acorn-shaped one that fell from the sky? The guy at the radio station started getting all of the phone calls.
Kentucky, that was Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. Tomato.
I will say, Robert Stack goes over all the UFO ones they've done so far. The England one, the Pennsylvania one, Roswell.
Yeah.
There's some other ones in there, but I try to forget them.
They started calling the radio DJ.
Yeah.
He recorded all of the stuff and then put together a little documentary. And then he had problems with the government, the men in black afterwards.
Yeah, maybe. I don't think so. October 7th, 1987, Danny Gordon, he comes in. I guess his normal routine was he called the sheriff because that's what you do in a tiny town of 8,000. It was like, hey, man, what's going on? Because he just reported some stuff on the radio for the town because they didn't have a local news station. They got it from the radio. And the sheriff tells him, well, whatever's going on, says, you're not going to believe it. But I had 3 deputies who were prior military guys literally say they saw a UFO. And Danny kind of laughs. I was like, what? He's like, yeah. They said they saw this out on the outskirts of town. So Danny does his normal news thing or whatever he does his broadcast, and then he kind of does like an aha moment, aha stories, or not aha, ha-ha stories, whatever. Aha, ha-ha.
Aha and ha-ha, 2 very different kinds of stories.
He does this, And come to find out, holy smokes, it blows up. All of a sudden, people are calling into the radio station like crazy, saying, hey, yeah, I saw this, I saw that, I saw all of this stuff. So by October 19th, 1987, they literally set up an evening call, like an evening section where people can just call in and talk about their sightings. Okay. And they play some of the recordings from the people that call in. Like a lady literally calls in and says, it was very, very huge. It was long and it didn't have any sound. It had a big light on the front, one in the center, and one in the back.
Is she sure that she was looking into the sky? I'm sorry. Apparently, we have the humor of junior high kids, but are you?
It was egg-shaped. I gotta move on. We have to cut this out.
What? I'm sorry.
It was very, very huge.
How bad did you want to yell, "That's what she said," as you were listening to this?
Whew. Okay, can we move on? So that was one of the recordings. That was the one they played for us. So, of course, Danny thought, well, he tells us, listen, I'm a pretty practical guy. I'm not going to just jump to UFO. I'm with you, Danny. So he thought maybe this is military testing. They weren't very far from Langley Air Force Base. So he calls the military. So he calls and he, like a normal person, like, hey, man, hey, military, do you mind telling me what you're doing over there on that military base? Are you guys doing secret testing? And the military surprisingly said no. So the military was like, hey, man, maybe it's possibly planes refueling up there. We get an interview from a lady. She's like, well, if they're refueling, why are they refueling right over the top of my house? So Danny calls the Pentagon and he's like, hey, man, are you guys doing, military testing and are you guys refueling over our little town and that? And the Pentagon says, well, if anyone is refueling under 13,000 feet, they're in trouble because that shouldn't be happening. So October 21st, Danny and a man by the name of Roger Hall, they drive out south of Wytheville because that's where a lot of the sightings have been happening. And they go out, they got a camera and a video camera, a still camera and a video camera. And they're going to try to document some of this stuff. They go out for several hours. They don't see anything. Like between 9 and 10, they're heading back. And all of a sudden, boom, they see lights. And Danny pulls over real quick. It's like, what is that? Oh my gosh. They jump out of the car and they look at it. And this huge craft, it says it was huge, multicolored lights. It didn't have any wings. It was like the size of 2 football fields wide. And it had like a 3-picture window, like the Millennium Falcon or something. Then Danny says he sees this red ball come flying across the thing and it docks with this massive aircraft. And then it disappeared. And they look at each other and it's like, hey, did you get some pictures? He's like, no, I didn't get pictures. What? The camera was just sitting on the trunk of the car. Video camera was in the car. They say they were just so awestruck by this thing. They go out the next night and they do get pictures. They don't tell us what they got pictures of, but they got pictures of something. And it was such a big deal that Danny calls a press conference the next day, the night of the press conference. Before he goes to his press conference, he's at home and he gets a phone call. Pretty scary. He says, listen, the CIA and the government, they're very interested and they're worried about what you're stepping into. You're crossing some lines here, bro. They say, listen, you should probably leave this alone. But he has the press conference and he does it anyways. And as he comes home from the press conference, guess what he finds? Someone had broken into his house. Nothing was missing. It just appeared that someone was looking for the photos that he got from the night before. Thankfully, he hadn't developed them yet, so they couldn't steal anything. But when he does develop those photos, they're just streaks of light in the sky. So he's like, it's nothing really. What am I going to do? All right.
I don't know. This sounds exactly like Men in Black, CIA, FBI sort of shenanigans.
Yeah, definitely. 6 weeks later, December 2nd, Danny and his family are leaving the mall. And as they're in the parking lot, like in the reenactment, there's a bus full of kids and they're all like, oh my gosh, look at that. So he looks up, he sees 4 flying discs and they're like flying around and they're coming together, they're coming apart, they're just vroom, 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 interacting, in, out, wow, roll all around. So he gets his camera, he's like, whoa, snap, 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 snap. He develops them and he's like, holy smokes, look at these pictures. It's a UFO, 100%. Gotta be, right, Sierra?
Yes, there was a whole school bus of witnesses. Everyone was freaking out about what was happening up in the sky. So I don't know why you have such a hard time buying this.
Each picture, there's a teardrop shape, an egg shape, a flying saucer shape, because those are not close at all shapes. Not all.
Yeah, but alien technology.
So by the end of December, they are having at least 1,500 sightings. We then get stories. Patricia Akers, you believe this? Patricia has seen 8 different sightings. Mary Jane Williamson, she saw a sighting right over her house. It was huge and long.
Is that what she said again? Another huge and long encounter?
So Danny Gordon, he then calls the Pentagon. Pentagon says, we do not.
How do you just dial up the Pentagon?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. And he says he talked to someone at the Pentagon who's like way up. Okay. They do not deny the existence of UFOs, but they do not believe that these UFOs, unidentified flying objects, are a threat to this Virginia county. So, of course, they're not going to send the military to protect them. So he's like, don't worry about it. Okay, March 19th, 1988. Danny's getting ready to go to a broadcasters conference in Virginia Beach, and he's going to talk about his reporting on these UFOs. As he's getting ready, he gets a phone call. And the guy on the phone call says, listen, I'm a retired military intelligence officer, and I'm about to tell you something classified. So first, what I need you to do is I need you to record this conversation because I want the world to know that I'm about to tell you things that you're not supposed to know. And I want you to record it for evidence so that I can then be implicated. I might have added a few things in there, but he does say that he's a retired military intelligence officer and that Danny needs to record this conversation. So Danny does record the conversation and he tells him, listen, I investigated stuff about UFOs and they killed my son with leukemia. And the government thinks that you're too deep into it to come after you personally. So they're probably going to come after your family. And so that upsets Danny. I would be upset if someone told me.
So, yeah.
But I believe in free speech, so I'm going to go to this conference and I'm going to keep saying what people are telling me. I'm just reporting on what people are saying. So he goes to Palm Beach. Nothing happens. Comes home. His family's okay. So, okay. All right. A few months later, 2 guys show up at his house. They say they're from the Richmond Gazette. They're there for 45 minutes. Danny says one guy comes in and he's interviewing, and another guy is just walking around his house snapping pictures. I would be worried if someone walked into my house and snapped pictures. They say, hey, listen, we're just writing an article on your reporting on these UFOs. We'll send you a copy of the article when it's done. He waits. He doesn't see anything, so he calls the Richmond Gazette. We have no idea what you're talking about. So now he's worried. He thinks Listen, that was the CIA. A few months even after that, Danny gets admitted to the hospital because all of this stuff has been just overwhelming. And he pretty much says, like, listen, man, this thing has taxed me to all get out. He goes, pretty much, I don't want anything to do with UFOs. I don't want to report on UFOs anymore, even though I'm sitting here doing a segment for Unsolved Mysteries years later about UFOs. And he's pretty much says, don't look up.
Any updates on this?
Ready for updates.
Yeah.
I mean, technically unsolved. It's UFOs. Danny did report on this a lot. He actually wrote a book about it. Him and another guy.
Yeah.
And then Wytheville, Virginia does a UFO conference now. They do like a little big festival. And he speaks at the festival about it.
Okay, so he didn't actually decide to just stay quiet. No.
He is still alive. I guess he talked back in 2022. I think now, I mean, no one's coming after people that are reporting on UFOs. So it's very safe to come out and say, hey, I think I saw something.
We've got so many other world-ending events happening that if aliens showed up right now, I think everyone would be like, well, that checks out. Yeah.
I think, I don't know. I mean, you know how I feel about this stuff. But it's funny because, like, they had so many in such a short amount of time. And as time went on, they all just died out and went away.
And like we've talked about before, the kind of...
The phenomenon.
The phenomenon.
Yeah.
Phenomenon. Yeah. And I mean, I think all of these, minus, I will say, the craziest thing I never expected to come out of doing this podcast is that Roswell, to me, is the least believable out of all of these UFO experiences.
Yeah, I don't really think anyone buys into the Roswell anymore. I think now it's just a part of culture to celebrate. Yeah. I think it's something fun to celebrate.
I've been in Roswell once. You've been there several times.
I live near Roswell.
The entire city is dedicated to this.
That's what I mean. It's just a culture acceptance to, hey, let's just...
I mean, Area 51's out there. Isn't it near Roswell? Or is it...
I don't think so. I think it's in Nevada. But I could be wrong on that, but I think it's in Nevada.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, as I dived into Roswell, it does appear it was just a military testing thing. And it wasn't anything. And there is no credible actual reporting that anyone saw any.
Yeah, all of these other stories, now mind you, minus probably the 1,500 or extreme amount of sightings, a lot of these other stories do hold more weight, at least once you kind of sift through the phenomenon of it.
Personal opinion. You're in Virginia. You're by Norfolk. You're by Langley. Yeah, I mean, was it probably military stuff to an extent? Yeah. I think like the Pennsylvania one was like military stuff, That one was incredible too because there were so many people and it was one night.
Yes, there wasn't multiple sightings after that one event.
Something happened there.
Yes.
The fire department, everyone was there. Something happened.
And the government overreacted.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do I think it was a UFO?
Yes.
Probably not. But if you want this one, was there something? Clearly people saw something.
Yeah.
What it was, I don't know. This is pretty much the same thing I say every time. Every time.
Yeah.
Do I think there was 1,500 sightings? Nah.
Yeah.
Nah. I think things picked up steam.
Yeah. There's an investigation right now going on by some Fox News outlet about the 13 people that have mysteriously died after working high up in top secret parts of the government. They're connecting these deaths and they're all these crazy, weird, mysterious accidents and different things like that. So yeah, I don't trust the government. Do I think that in Virginia they cared about some 7,000 town population DJ? No, but I'll tell you what a DJ is. He's a good storyteller. And he capitalized on this and he made himself into a character that was being hunted by, or silenced and threatened and all of these things that he was able to launch it into a career.
I think that phone call to him is complete, utter BS.
Yeah.
Whoever called him was just some Joe Schmo who wanted to input himself because he's an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
He is. He's an idiot.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And here's the thing. I feel bad for the guy because I bet if someone called me and said my family's being threatened, I would be upset about it. But yes,
Yeah.
I did kind of laugh at the end where he's like, I don't want anything to do with it. It's just like, yeah, but it's 1992, dude.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 3 years later, and you're now like doing an interview with Unsolved Mysteries. And then to come to find out he wrote a book about it.
And now
And it was written in 1988.
Yeah.
I mean, it was written literally the next year.
Mm-hmm.
And he's speaking. I'm like,
Pick a lane.
Well, here's the thing. It's okay. Own it, man. Own it that, hey, you were the face of this and you were the voice of it.
Yeah.
And it did stumble into your lap.
Yeah.
It's not like you sought it out. It stumbled into your lap. You're a radio guy. You're kind of the voice of this tiny little town. And you got to be the face of it. That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Someone has to be.
Yeah.
Own it. Be okay with it.
Well, there you guys go. UFOs, ghosts, a serial killer, and an update.
Big update.
Season 4, episode 18 of Unsolved Mysteries. All right.
Yes.
Time for a silly question with Ben. Ben,
Sierra.
if you had to give a 10-minute presentation on anything, what would you have to, what do you think you could give us a 10-minute presentation on?
A 10-minute presentation. What do you got?
Oh,
You go
my
first.
Goodness. You are the worst.
I know.
I could get up there and give a 10-minute presentation on makeup. I could give a 10-minute presentation on thrifting. 4-H pigs. I could talk about raising hogs. You know I could. That's actually what I could do. I could fake it till I make it on that. Okay.
On raising pigs. What would you say about raising pigs?
No, you're not going to get to drag this out. No, 10 minutes and go.
10-minute
No,
presentation.
it's your turn to answer the question.
I don't actually have any expertise in a lot of things. I could give a 10-minute presentation on how to do a podcast. Because technically, I do it for fun.
Punch you.
It is
I
a
am
hobby
going to
of
punch you in the throat.
You're going to punch me.
Answer the question. It's not that hard. Playing the drums.
Yeah, I could do a 10-minute presentation on
As your wife, I could think
the
of
drums.
building things.
I could do it on changing a light fixture, building
Changing the
something.
oil in the car.
Yeah. Fabricating something. I could do how to build a bookshelf because I've built multiple of those.
Yeah.
I built a whole library.
You could do a 10-minute presentation on baseball. Your knowledge on baseball. How is it that I answered that question for you? I'm so annoyed. You just manipulated your way into me doing the work for you.
I could do a 10-minute.
Shocking. How that is our entire podcast is if I just annoy Sierra enough, then she'll just do the work for me.
I could do a 10-minute presentation on how to get your wife to answer the question for you.
Your wife right now, I'm going to do a 10-minute presentation on why your husband ends up on the couch tonight. All right, on that note, join us again next week where Ben and I recap another episode of
Unsolved Mysteries.
Bye.